Dark. You live
You
already?
said what? Yeah,
Hold on,
we're
bro.
live. We're live. Oh, what
I
happened?
wasn't. I don't even got my headset hooked up or nothing.
Oh, well,
Hold
I mean,
on.
we love live. Come on, we got it on the fly. We'll start. Uh, we're already live at this point in time, so we're just gonna
So,
roll with it.
uh,
Make some say we're good. What would you do? Would you want to wait another 10 minutes?
no, I didn't.
Oh, we're good. Either way, go. We are bros with mics. Cody got his headset
Let
on.
me
I
call
guess
you
I did
back.
start the live a
All
little
right.
bit quicker than before. Uh, But no, it's been a minute. We got a lot of activity that's happened over the past week or so right here, especially with the beginning of the bowl season kicking off. Saw some good games this weekend, actually. Tier teams that people don't really look
Well,
at like this first set of bowl games. Did you catch any of those? Oh,
just
I
pull
think
me
you're
out for a
back.
second. I ain't ready at all.
Yeah, here we'll move you back.
But
I want to remove it altogether. I'm trying to figure out how to make you go backwards, but it's all right. We'll just be on me for a second. But no, there's a lot of good games that kind of kicked off this past weekend. I was watching, especially one of the local teams here with Howard. Watching that game with FAMU. It's a pretty solid game if you looked at it. And HBCUs, I feel like they haven't been getting a lot of attention, but we're seeing more and more of them make it to this level in the bowl games and start putting on for the team. So that's pretty good. Let's see if we can get some of these scores. Uh, I know one game in particular that I was kind of dumbfounded with, not to hop around too much, but looking at the Appalachian State game. I don't know if you ever saw that. Very low scoring game. It's like odd. Like these are the teams. This is the caliber of teams that we put up at this point. That are. I mean, I know it was super wet. I will give them that. How the fields were atrocious, but the score is 13-9. Uh, it seemed like they were playing in a mud bowl out there
check,
at this
check,
point.
check, check, check.
But no, I hear you. Hey, Lima Charlie, Lima Charlie. Um, but no, it was 13-9 Appalachian versus Miami, Ohio. Miami, Ohio could get anything going. With them being an 11-win team, you'd figure they'd be a lot more solid when it came to bowl time. But it was god awful out there. Another team, like I said, to go back was the FAMU versus Howard. HBCU versus HBCU, and I actually enjoyed watching bits and pieces of that game right there. Howard is a lot better team they have been in the past. I think I want to say the last couple seasons they were like 2, 3, 4 win team. And to make that turnaround to now be bowl eligible and to get a bowl game and play pretty good, 30-26, they play a little hearts out down there. Um, I give it to them. But those are the kind of games that you want to see. I don't want to see a 13-9 game in a bowl game. Y'all supposed to be the best of the best. If you make it to a bowl, you're supposed to be the top tier teams. Should be able to score and do stuff. They were just, and not that they couldn't score because defense was great, but there's a lot of fumbles and a lot of interceptions in this game where it's just piss poor. Where it's like, dude, what are you doing? I guess we can blame the rain, but RG3 and them were in there commentating. I said, this is just awful. Like it just looked that bad. Uh, let's bring more back in here. It just looked that bad watching the game. Like how did y'all make it to this level looking like that? You know what I'm saying? I guess go back a little further, see our stuff behind us. But no, another team that did pretty good and they won their bowl game. And I think this is their first year coming up to the next level. Uh Jayville. They won 34-31 against Louisiana Monroe. And I think it's their first year coming up to that level. But Jayville's one of the teams that in the past they've got close to upset. They've been a solid team coming out of FCS to FBS. They've been actually pretty solid team, and I enjoyed watching them this year. When their first game, at the beginning of the season, when they made that first jump over to getting bowl eligible, just like James Madison, who didn't, they didn't want them to be in it because of them making that jump. I think they're not bowl eligible for 2 years or something like that. Something happened. Uh, but a lot of these teams who are coming up to the next level are showing that they have what it takes to compete. Uh, I know we were having a conversation earlier about the FBS versus FCS, but I mean FBS Power Five, not FCS, the FBS Power Five, and how that's gone now, essentially with the Pac-12 disintegrating like it did, dissolving. The nature of how all this is going to be shifting. Some of these teams got to come out on top at this point in time and try to put their name in a hat to be in that position. Because at first, um, the 12 team playoff, it was supposed to be what each conference champion gets it, then the runner ups will get in. But guess what? We don't have a Power 5 anymore. We got 4, so that's 8 teams essentially that should be able who have potential to get in. And then what about the other guys? Who gets in over the MAC or Mountain West or the other ones? Who gets in at that point in time? So with the Pac-12 going on, it gives more teams the opportunity to throw their ring and hat to try to get one of those 12-team playoff slots. I kind of like it. And this bowl games is showing that. It's showing that some of these teams can compete or they're solid teams. But no, how you feeling about all the trades and not trades, transfers? It feels like trades because when people are getting paid to go somewhere, it almost feels like you get traded. The old school just kind of get nothing from it. But how you feeling about some of these trades? I know a few have impacted y'all, Oklahoma directly. A few of these.
Yeah, sorry. Definitely the Oklahoma trades. I mean the transfer portal with Oklahoma was kind of expected. Actually, some of the transfers are still practicing with Oklahoma, so they might flip back.
Mm-hmm.
But just as far as transfer portal, yeah, we lost everybody that was expected to leave so far. The only surprise I say would be Caden Green, the O lineman.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much had a secure spot.
See the one that
For
went
the
up
O
to
line.
Oregon.
He ain't committed yet, but
Oh, okay.
trending that way.
Yeah.
I think other than that, not really no surprise. We got a commit from 4-star O lineman, that guy that ran that fast ass 40 time.
Uh-huh.
I can't think of his name. I can't think of his name, but he committed to Oklahoma, so we're good there. But really, it's just the teams that still have some big names out there, which is weird. I figure like soon as the transfer portal open, you'll start to see more people get out there so they can start seeing numbers and
Yeah.
offers. But I know some people like to wait. I don't know exactly what that does for you.
So
But
waiting to transfer. Maybe they're just trying
waiting
to
to
see
put your
where
name
some
out there.
maybe seeing where like maybe there's some internal communication going on with their team. Like, hey, I'm trying to get a little bit more NIL, so some back and forth going on there. And some teams like, yeah, we're not giving you NIL. Sorry, but that's not gonna happen.
Yeah. We're waiting on DJ Hicks to hop in the portal, former 5-star, number 2 defensive tackle from 2023 class, I believe.
Mm, yeah.
Um, Waiting on him to hit the portal. Hopefully, we get him because it was between us and who was it between us and A&M, of course, who we went to. And then the number 7 from Florida,
Yeah.
trending our way as well, but I don't know. That's a far stretch, but he was. Um, it was between us and Florida back whenever he came out of high school. I can't think of his name. That big number 7 defensive tackle.
The one who's out of
Big,
IMG or wait, are you talking about high school or transfer?
no,
The
transfer. The big
yeah,
number 7 on Florida's team with his
yeah.
gut out.
Yeah, no, that's I know you're talking about dudes like 400 pounds, 6'7", 6'8".
Yeah,
That dude, yeah. Uh, she would know,
I
but
can't think of his name.
she's playing Spider-Man, so she ain't paying attention. She would know it. Yeah, dang, I remember his name, but he's lost some weight. I will say, watching him, from when he first came to where he's at now, dude lost some weight because I think he came at
Yeah,
like 440, and I think when they're talking about during the season, he's down like 4'5", 4'10". Like he's lost a little bit of weight, and he's got a little bit of speed to him. He's looking decent out there. That's a big body to grab. I mean, he grabbed somebody like midair, dang near. It's like, where you going? Just slammed it back out.
yeah,
Uh, there's
yeah,
a lot of
and
people I'm excited for this year coming.
the 4-star is Eddie Pierre Lewis, by the way.
Pierre Lewis, okay.
Yeah, I couldn't think of his name. He ran the I don't know if y'all can see, but he had ran like the 40. I mean, not the 40, but the 100-meter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he's rolling. Yeah.
Yeah, he was rolling. 315 pounds, 5 reps of 315 on bench. Not
Yep.
bad, not bad. But he's pretty committed to us. But it's been honestly, like our transfer portal ain't as good as I hoped it'd be so far, which is still very early. But just being a fan, you want to see everybody come on to your
Yeah.
school, right? But nah, it's still some. I'll get into it in a second, but yeah, it's still some time left.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for a couple of our guys we got coming up. We had one with Boo Carter who was going back and forth trying to advocate for us a lot of times, and that's what I like. Some of these guys who are out actively trying to bring in people with them. He's out of Chattanooga right there. He goes to Bradley Central, and he's a solid kid, man. As an athlete, I think he's number 4 in his position, which is good. We're going to need this new wave of challenge. We just lost Jalen Wright, our running back, which is a huge hit to Tennessee because dude was a different beast, that 3-headed monster. But being able to rotate some new guys into those spots is going to be crucial. But I think the player that I'm most excited for 2024, well, I guess it's 2 players technically. One is we get to really see Nico let loose, but we got Mike Matthews out of Lilburn, Georgia, 5-star wide receiver. Dude's a dog. Dude is a dog. I'm excited for him to come and have a target. We also locked down the tight end transfer from Notre Dame. We got him in there. Mike Matthews, Brew McCoy coming back. So we got Nico some weapons to actually play with, but we're losing a lot of people on defense, including Tyler Barron, one of the top defensive rushers in NCAA. I think he's like number 1 in the SEC, number 2 in the SEC. He's going to Ole Miss, which I'm not upset with that. I would have been pissed off if he would have pulled a Henry To'o and went to like a Alabama on us. It's disrespectful at that point to go to a near peer rival like that, Alabama, Georgia. It's like, dog, well, you knew the feelings between the 2 teams, and you go to like a near peer rival. Like, come on, man, that's bogus at that point in time. But he went to Ole Miss, which I got to give to him. He's graduated. He's been there for like 5, almost 6 years. He wanted to use his last year eligibility, and he went to go get some money down at Ole Miss, which is cool. You go down there, win 8 games, I guess, and lose to Alabama or A&M like they usually do. Cool. Why not grind it out for your last year where you've been and where you can really make an impact with the Vols? But it's all right. Live and let live. We got new guys coming in. I know we had not David Bradley, but starts with a C. He didn't get to play this past season because he's a freshman, and they're rotating some guys in. And we'll be all right on defense. I think for the most part we'll be all right. We lose a lot of those DBs. Caleb Beasley coming up, young cat in 2024. We got him. So I think we'll be all right, but only time will tell. You know what I'm saying? That's how it is with a lot of these guys. Only time will tell how they mesh with the system, how Josh Heupel starts to really form the guys he's brought in. I mean, he's been here for about 2 years now, and these recruits that you have brought in over the past 2 years, a year and a half, now it's time for them to start putting up some numbers. Now it's time to start making a difference, right? Now it's time for the Nicos to get in here and get seated. And we had this old wave of the talent that we did have completely gone almost now, essentially losing the Hendon Hookers, losing the Miltons, I guess you want to say it's the talent, losing the Tyler Barons and the Wrights, people like that who he essentially brought up over the past 2 years. Losing those guys, now it's time to see what kind of difference, what kind of team, what kind of coach he actually is with his recruiting and all that kind of stuff, especially when we had recruiting violations where we're limited to scholarships.
Yeah. No, right now y'all rank 14th in the 24 class,
Okay, not
just
bad.
behind LSU and Penn State. LSU 12, Penn State 13. Not bad at all. 2 5
Thing
stars,
is,
11 4 stars.
but did you see that? Though where you guys rank that on there?
Um, 8.
Because we're ranked. Sorry, ranked 14, but in the SEC we're like 8th. Look at everybody who's on there is ahead of us: Alabama, Georgia, Oklahoma, LSU, Florida. I think we got 2 other teams that are ranked ahead of us. Though we're ranked 14 nationally, which is great. Then you look at the conference, it's like, oh, y'all like 8th in the conference on recruiting.
Yeah. Yeah. Y'all behind us, Georgia, Alabama, even Florida,
Yep.
um, Texas,
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma, Auburn, LSU. Yeah.
So though it looks good to be ranked, I think it might be 13th or something like that, somewhere around there, 12th, 13th. Then you
14.
look at the big picture, and it's like, 8th in the
Per,
SEC.
per 24/7, you got 11 4 stars, 2 5 stars. I don't know if y'all got 2 5-stars though.
Yeah, Nico's a 5-star and Mike
This is
Matthews.
24.
Oh, 24. We got Mike Matthews, a
Mike
5-star, and I
Matthews
think there's
and Jordan Ross.
Ross. Yeah, Ross. Yeah,
Yeah, Jordan Ross. Okay. Um. So yeah, 11 and 2. Not
yeah.
bad. Not
So
bad.
not upset about it. But it's one of those things. It's like we gotta get some people in there, and I hope we get the Nolans and stuff like that. I hope we get them, but if we don't, I mean, not a whole lot you can do about it. It's just put the nose to the grindstone, keep trying to get the new people. We had a lot of people want to leave to go other places. Hopefully, he has a plan to replace these guys that are on their way out. I think they kind of pushed out a lot of our defensive players, those DBs. I think they kind of like, man, y'all weren't getting the job done. Constantly getting cooked.
Mhm.
Kamal Hatton was the only one who was really holding it down. He got hurt with the shoulder injury. Everybody else is kind of just like, you're okay, but not great. Besides our defensive linemen, who were pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, it's still I can't find it, but it's still some people out there who hadn't even committed yet. Signing
Yeah.
day is just in a few days, right? Signing
Signing
days.
day, yeah, for the high schoolers.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's right around the corner. Signing
yeah,
day. So
yeah. So I
you're
mean,
looking at
actually,
National Signing Day.
maybe
What is
everybody
talking
had
about Signing
committed.
Day? You talking
Let
about
me
high school, like people who are
Yeah,
left?
high school.
Oh, it's February. So National Signing Day is February.
Oh, it's
So
February? Oh,
yeah, I think
okay.
it's after all the bowl games. And then right after the Super Bowl, right before Super Bowl. Yeah,
Yeah,
National Signing Day, rivals, rankings. And I think, hold on. What I will say is I don't like how some of these guys are doing now. Now it seems kind of personal. I'm still, like I said, I'm still upset about the lineman who was reposting other Tennessee players on there with Boot Carter talking like, yeah, let's go ahead and win, get these dubs. And then you turn around and commit to Colorado. What? What? Dude, like not even 48 hours ago, you were reposting and talking about it. And then you were so excited. And then your comment was, I want to play for a coach that looks like me, which I get. I mean, but your defensive coordinator, who you're really under, your main guy, that's who recruited you. So it's a black coach. But I digress. I think the publicity that comes with Deion Sanders is what these kids want. Not I want to coach the listen. No. You want the attention that comes along with being at the press and him talking about securing your future monetarily. Because Tennessee wasn't that they weren't forking out money. We got money to give. Now we didn't got Texas and A&M money to give, where some of these programs got hundreds of millions, then at $1 billion budgets. But we definitely ain't short by any means. And it's some of those things just like, come on, man, have some class. If he's gonna go there, don't play these crap games. I understand on the day you switch hats, but the entire time you post. But that's what happened to an old boy who was supposed to go to Oregon, but then came to Oklahoma last minute. It's like, actually, you know what? I changed my mind.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, I don't even like once somebody commits, I don't really put too much into it. I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but until
Until
you
you
are
there
actually on
playing,
campus, then
yeah,
I'm not really like because I think people sometimes forget that these are high school students.
yeah,
And Deion Sanders said it best, like if they ain't gonna commit to their girlfriend, what makes you think they're gonna commit to a school? So
yeah.
I
You're
mean,
right.
and that's the truest thing I've heard. So I don't really get like when you decommit or whatever, vice versa, commit. It's it is what it is until you at the campus, until you play a football game, then I ain't really I gotta
Yeah,
see
and
it
because
to
even at
believe
the
it type
campus, that
person.
don't mean a whole lot. For some of these guys, they'll still flip on you in a heartbeat. We had the one guy. He was at Wyoming. We offered him. He came to campus, enrolled in classes, then de-enrolled and went to Texas. Like what? What are we doing back in the spring? So what are we doing, bro? But then he got hurt, which is like,
It makes I
it's
mean, I ain't gonna say
unfortunate,
it
but like, come
makes
on.
sense, but you're on your own, you're far away or whatever the case may be. It's a lot of things that go in there. You get there and you kind of realize like
Have some anxiety about
uh,
it.
yeah, like a lot of emotions play into it. So like I get it. That's why I'm like, is what it is. At the end of the day, I think and Brent Venables has the mindset as well. It's kind of like if you ain't with us, then 100%, then don't be with us, and
Yeah.
that's just how it is. Like, so at the end of the day, if you're not 100% committed, then I'd rather you be somewhere else in the first place. Honestly,
Yeah, I'm not going to beg you to be here. Who has that mindset also is not transferring all that extra stuff is Clemson's coach. I feel like they're at the point where he's just like, I'm not going to play these transfer portal games with you. I'm gonna get you out of high school. And if you want to be here, I'm going to offer to you. You're going to come here. You're going to be here. If not, then oh well. At this point, I'm not going to go back and forth with you. I'm going to play these games now. It's like how much money I'm getting. I saw a real, I can't recall the guy's name, and the guy was wanting to transfer from Alabama. He's like a backup at Alabama. He's like, I'm a former 5-star, and the coach is like, that don't mean nothing. You were on the bench. You were a 5-star at first. I know you were transferred here. It's like how much NIL money I'm getting. You, nothing. We'll offer you to come here and be with us, and if you perform, then we'll make sure we get you something. But we want you to come here because you want to be here and you want to fight for a spot, not I'm just coming because how much money we getting. I feel like that's what these kids are asking now. Hey, coach, I'm excited to be there. Let's talk about how much money you're giving me now. Like, what kind of NIL am I looking at now? And that's what it's. Which I mean, I understand to be about your money because these schools have been making billions of dollars over these years, and the players ain't seen jack but a couple stipends. Education paid for, yes, that's a huge deal. And don't get me wrong, not to speak down having a good quality education, but what if I catch a concussion and now I have short-term memory loss and I can't finish up school? And you got to have something to fall back on. So I get it. I get it in that aspect. But with it not being regulated, like giving certain players, like it should be, I don't want to say about the state control because you don't want to, it shouldn't be even across the board because players aren't even across the board. You know what I'm saying? But it has to be regulated to a point where it's just not like, hey, I'm gonna give Joe Blow $8 million, but I'm gonna give you 100K.
yeah. No, I get it. I get it for sure. I do want to take a quick time out to um hit y'all with a little question. Whoever
Yo,
is attending. And uh just a little icebreaker because my headset or my headphones is dying on me as I speak. I do have a question though. They keep
Mhm.
saying low battery, low battery. No, so unrelated to football. Let's say a guy comes in, he says, I give you 100K guaranteed right now.
Mhm.
I seen this on TikTok, so this is not mine, so don't come at me if you do see this. So you get 100K guaranteed right now.
Yeah,
Or I give you a coin, you flip it, you get it right, I give you 10 mil. What you rolling with?
go big or go home.
Go
In the
big
grand
or go
scheme,
home?
of thing, 100K is cool. So for some people, 100K be life changing, but seeing the bigger picture of what 100K really is, it's just like, okay, I can make 100K in a year if I go work hard right now. I'll make that money. But 10 million is not life changing just for me, but potentially for multiple people generationally, right?
Right.
So I'd rather gamble that because that 100K, cool. It's here today, going tomorrow. If I lose it, I'll lose it. If I get it, great. I might invest in something that may or may not fail. But 10 million, on the other hand, I take 50
10
50
mil.
odds. I'll take 50-50 odds.
50-50 odds. Hey, I probably have to roll with the 10 mil too, honestly.
Yeah.
Like 100K is cool. And I think for anybody that's middle class,
Mm-hmm.
that's something that middle class and below actually, but I think that's something that can get you started in a lot of things. I think that's
Yeah.
a jump start for your life for sure. But the 10 mil is a setup. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
That's life
100K is a jump
changing.
start,
Yeah.
but the 10 million is a setup. And once you hit that, but you gonna be sick if you don't get it right though. Boy, I would be
You're gonna be
hurting.
sick. I'm like, dang, I could have. But the thing is, you take the 100K and it's like, I could have maybe had that 10 million had I just flipped forward. Now you're always
Yeah.
thinking I could have had the 10 million, right? You're always thinking
Grass
about
always
this.
seems greener.
It always seems greener. So I'll take my 50-50 flip in hopes that I get it. And if I don't, what did I lose? Nothing. I didn't lose anything
Facts.
technically. I mean, guarantee. I guess technically, I never had the 100K in my pocket, and it could have came with stipulation. Yeah, once you take this 100K, I'm gonna go ahead and tax you for 40%. Leave you
I
with
mean,
60K. So now you
No,
giving it to me cash. If you just give me 100K cash, I ain't got to worry about
100K cash.
IRS. I'm joking when I say this, but give me my 100K cash. I ain't got to worry about paying taxes on it, hypothetically speaking.
Yeah,
So,
hypotheticals.
but yeah, no, I'm definitely doing the coin flip at that point in time.
Yeah, I
It just
am
makes
too,
more
for
sense.
sure.
Go big, go home. 100K is cool, but it ain't life changing. 100K is not life changing. 10 million is life changing, life altering.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it can be 100K can be, but that's
But the work you have to put in with that 100K, right? You know what I'm saying? You got to take that and build from it. 10 mil, I don't have to take and build. I can buy something that then starts generating money for me. And like big king, 100K is kind of
I
hard to
mean,
do.
100K could start you a business. I mean, not could, it can
Yeah,
start you a
it will,
business.
but then you still got to take a business loan with that because you just use 100K, depending on what your business, depending on the business, right? But say if I
Depending
want
on the
to
business.
open a restaurant, 100K is not going, it's not enough. I could open a small joint that may or may not fail, but then I got to buy my building. So then I got to buy a building. That building's going to cost you about 80, 90K. And then I got 10 to 20 left
I
for
can
supplies
definitely
and to
start a
pay people.
barbershop
That's
with that.
now that's different. Now to start a
That's what
barbershop
I
because
would do.
people bring their own supplies with them. Hey, I
Uh-huh.
got your boots. You rent my boots from me. Bring your own supplies with you. I could buy the building now. If it's just a barbershop, I'm not worried about food, prep, and all that. I can go spend 50K on a good location for a building to lease it for the
I mean,
year. And then
really,
it makes us money
I
back.
could pay the lease on it for like a year or two,
That's
and
what I'm
then
saying. You use 50K, you
yeah,
pay the lease, and you hold your other 50K to pay out small profits to make sure people coming in. You put like fancy lights in it, your chairs,
yeah,
you're looking at location, your advertisement. The rest of that goes to your advertisement. I was a
yeah.
restaurant that 100K doesn't work in a restaurant. Like it just, I mean, it'll get you on the right way, but it's just in the grand scheme. It's like I need more than that. Hell, I'm looking at the building down the street from us. That's 300,000 just to get in. And that's the guy come up and fix all the booths, do all this other stuff. I want to do that, right? So
Yeah, renovation
100K,
definitely is
depending on which one.
taxing.
You said what?
Renovation definitely is
It's going to
taxing.
tax you. But if you're doing a
Yeah,
barbershop, it's a lot simple. Have your chairs. People bring their own equipment. You just got to get the right people in there, the right vibe, and advertise. Social media can get that done for you.
yeah, for
And a
sure, for
couple
sure.
fancy barber pole signs. But no, I'm taking my 50-50 flip for my 10 million.
Heard. Um, so another name I wanted to, or another kind of topic I want to go towards is just getting into the nitty gritty of the big games, right? The playoff
Yeah.
scenario.
Yep.
So,
And
we
while you
got
doing that,
Washington, Texas.
while you do that, I'm gonna start posting this out. But I'm listening.
Okay. We got Washington, Texas. We got Alabama, Michigan. So, starting with Alabama, Michigan, I'm looking at Michigan long term over the 23 season, and I'm looking at these teams that's not particularly great, honestly. Like Michigan, does have the best defense and all of these things, but they do have the worst schedule of all these teams that's in the college football playoff right now, right? So, I mean, I guess you could argue Texas, but looking at it, no, I wouldn't even say Texas. I'd say they have the worst schedule for sure. Um, so looking at Michigan, Michigan has played a lot of teams that's not great on offense. The only team the best team they probably played on offense was Maryland, right? Did they play Maryland?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's probably Maryland. And outside of that, I mean, you have Penn State, Drew Aller is not that
Ohio.
great. Ohio State, you got CJ Stroud that's not good on offense as well.
CJ
It's
Stroud's
just
gone.
going to Syracuse. Um,
CJ
and
Stroud?
I mean, what's his name?
Not JJ, but
Kyle McCord.
Kyle
Kyle
McCoy. I was
McCord
saying
is
CJ Stroud is in the league.
no. Kyle McCord is going to. Sorry, I have a barking dog. I did not sleep last night. Kyle McCord going to Syracuse,
Mhm.
right? Uh, look at this. I don't like this. Anyway, and then you got Bama. Showed improvement towards the back end, right? Showed
Yeah.
improvement towards the back end. Michigan, you got them coming from not great opponents. not really good opponents, right? For the most part. Um, Penn State, I think, would lose to Ole Miss. I think they'll lose to Oklahoma. I think they will lose to Florida State. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, in comparisons, you got Michigan, you got Bama, right?
Yeah.
I know you're taking Bama. At first, I was taking
Bama.
Michigan until I kind of heard it broke down from someone who is a Michigan fan, actually, and was basically saying like Michigan really hadn't played a great offense. Bama's not a great offensive team, but Bama is a Bama team
It's still
at the end
Bama.
of the
Yeah.
day. Yeah. So, and I don't like using that Bama's Bama da 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 because every year is different. Every year is different, but this year is different in particular because Bama's not they're not the Mac Jones,
Tua's and
the
Hurts
Tua
and
and the
Young's.
Bryce Young. So this year is kind of like he can throw it decently, but his legs is the big reason that they're there.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, Michigan has a great D line. They have a great O line, but Bama has a great O line. So um it's one of those matchups that I'm looking at and I'm thinking, what is the factor? And I think the factor in this is if Michigan can contain defensively, if they can contain um I can't think of no names today.
Milrow? Is that what you're trying to say?
Milrow, Jalen
Mhm.
Milrow. If they can contain Jalen Milrow, I think they have a good shot at this game, right?
Yeah.
But if Bama can stop Michigan's rushing attack, I think they win this game easily, if that makes sense.
Because
I think if
Quorum
they
is
stop
Quorum is the factor. JJ McCarthy and Quorum. Quorum is a factor for Michigan. It's just like with a buddy from Missouri. That running back is a factor. So you shut down the running game, which Bama can do. Bama
Mhm.
is definitely great at being a run stuff team. You shut down Blake
Yeah,
Corum, Michigan's folding. They're folding under the pressure, bro.
yeah.
I don't see them being even remotely able to keep up with Bama once they stop that. Bama's offense is too explosive. They make
Mhm.
plays. Milrow, Burton, these guys make plays, and I see that being the same thing. We look statistically for Michigan, their primary factor, let's see if we can get it pulled up right here, is their running attack. JJ McCarthy finished off with about 2,600 yards, which is cool. But the way they really gash teams is being able to run against them, right? Being able to put up these
Yeah.
averages that are just outlandish and you can't stop it. Now run into a SEC caliber defensive line, and we see what kind of numbers you put up then, which we said in the past. Michigan didn't look good in their last outing against the SEC team. Right. And the past outing against SEC teams, Michigan hasn't done good because the way the line is a little bit more physical, right? So this is Michigan versus SEC in the past couple years in bowl games. Normal play.
Michigan is only a 1 point favorite. They have a 55.9% chance to win this game against Bama.
Mm.
Um, it's gonna be tough. I'm excited to see it just because I think it's a good matchup. Um, but it's going to be tough,
I
right?
think I'm already
For
looking
Bama.
ahead for the Alabama versus Texas matchup because I think that's what it's going to end up being.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say Michigan can't do it. Plenty of people have held their own against Alabama and almost gotten wins, with Texas being one of those who's gotten it.
right.
But I just think Nick Saban had something to prove. Everybody was doubting him after last year with 2 losses and not making it to the playoffs. Then turn
Yeah,
around, you lose to Texas at the beginning of the season. I think it lit a fire under his ass. And then in turn, he turned the burner on his players. Like, you think I'm in a hot seat? I'll show you hot seat, right? And I think he got his stuff together at that point in time. And his players like, you know what? Uh, old ball coach, head ball coach is pissed off. We got to make something shake. And now we see what happened, what the outcome of that game was. And he truly, the outcome of this season was he started putting up numbers. He went against Georgia, had a game plan. Not that people say, oh, it was a close game, 27-24, which we hadn't talked about. I predicted that score. But they had firm control of that game the whole time. And every game since then, they've kind of had control of and been able to do it, except for the Auburn game. But we know the nature of rivalry games. That's to be said. That's different. Iron Bowl is a huge heated rivalry. So you can't really, you can't correlate that to how other people will perform against the same team.
I mean, if you're looking at it like I said before, you look at Michigan. Blake Corum had more touchdowns than the quarterback,
Mhm,
right? So um, we're talking about a team that is heavy run
mhm.
that Bama is specialized in. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're a running team, they specialize against that,
Yeah.
and they come out on top of those teams
Look at Tennessee.
9 times out of 10, right? So I mean, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. I think JJ McCarthy's gonna have a game of his life.
Yeah.
He's gonna have to play, you know, as good as he did against Ohio State, and then a little
Not
bit
better.
extra on top
Yeah,
of that.
yeah, and then some.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, um, but like you said, you was looking forward getting to Michigan or getting into Washington and Texas. I look at
Yeah.
that game and I'm looking at, and I know you're thinking Texas is gonna beat Washington. I actually met a Texas fan in the gym the other day, and he was like, "I don't think we got a chance." And I was like, and I was kind of on your page. I'm like, I think it's gonna be Bama, Texas again. But now I start to look at it.
Washington is a good team. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to hold Washington by any means. Offensively, they are elite.
yeah, yeah,
But
of
what does
course. And
that
that's why I
defense
was
have to say? What is that defense
well,
going to do?
well, see, this is what I'm saying. This when he said that, I'm like, you think so? Like I was confused why he would say that. And I started
Mhm.
thinking about it a little bit. Texas is not better than Oregon on offense, but Oregon has a good defense, but they're better than Texas, or Texas defense is better than Oregon.
Yeah.
That being said, with that being said, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking if they can stop Oregon's offense, they can stop Texas' offense.
But I think what the difference will be, this will be a game of control. I don't see Texas coming out like Oregon and just say, hey, let's just punch each other until somebody goes to sleep. And that's what the Pac 12 was this year. A lot of let's swing and see who has better stamina. I think Texas is going to be the opposite. I think Texas, like, we're going to slow this thing down and pound you into a pulp. We're going to control the ball here. Washington might get a score, and the Texas is going to get it, and they're going to take a long time. Sarkeesian is a great offensive mind. I think he's going to get it, and he's going to slow roll it, slow roll it, slow roll it. Do you think Washington's good enough to beat Alabama right now? If you had to ask a question, I'll start. But Washington beat Alabama. If the answer ain't unequivocally, hell
If
yeah, they
they
can beat
beat
them.
Texas, if they beat
If
Texas,
they
I
beat
think they can
Texas, but
beat
I'm talking
Bama.
about before Texas. Right now, if you had to put Alabama in the spot, but Washington beat Alabama. In your mind, if you had to match up, who wins that right now?
I mean, it's hard to say because I think they played a top three offense twice and beat them. You know how hard it is to beat a team twice. Not only a top three offensive
Extremely
team.
difficult. But look at Oregon's defense. Oregon just couldn't, and it wasn't like Washington was out here just putting in work against them. It was a close game. It was a 3-point game again because it was a lack of defense being played. It was all offense. And then they got lucky with the kick at the end. Just like they got lucky at the beginning, not lucky, they outlasted them by 3 at the beginning of the season, outlasted them by 3 again. I don't think it was just they were outright the better team. It is you were better because you won, but it's because
I mean, if you
kickers
win
made.
twice, you might be the better team. They was beating
But
Oregon
if you
pretty
win
bad.
twice by 3 points both times, it's like I think you guys were evenly matched, and it came down to the field goal. It's just, you were an even team. It's just somebody didn't kick it.
Yeah, I
Somebody's
could.
kicker was not stretching on the sideline and decided to.
I mean, even Texas defense gave up 34, to Oklahoma. I mean, it's and those big games is hard. It's hard
Yeah, it's
to
hard to
say,
say.
okay, we're gonna
I,
hold you
I,
to
I don't know. I
10 or
think
less points.
it's tough. It's a tough one. I don't have it being an outright domination by either team. If Washington wins or Texas wins, it'd be close. But I think Texas' goal in this will be to slow it down. That's how they're
I
going to
mean,
win this, controlling the ball.
so looking at some analytics here, right?
Mhm.
Oregon going for Washington. Talk about Washington. Washington was 11th in scoring offense. Scoring defense. Texas is 13th. Okay. I
Against
still think Texas.
Pac-12, who's slinging the ball around. It's a lot of passing
Exactly.
in the Pac-12. So
That's
it's a little bit
so
easier
that's
to.
good.
But I'm saying it's a little bit easier to be high in scoring defense
No,
when the
scoring.
opposite team throws. Yeah, scoring defense when the other teams, they're throwing the ball. It's like we have to worry about them ground and pound. They're not going to ground and
I
pound
mean,
us
look
out.
at the
It, I think it's going to be opposite. And if you look at in the Big 12, these guys got running backs. They're out there. You have to worry about the run game. If I can only solely focus on passing all the time, it's a little bit easier to get an interception as opposed to, dang, this running back is a dog. He's about to come in, pound me out. So now you bring it back in, and then they're over the top with you. Texas is able to
I
do that.
I think what you're saying is the opposite. When you're passing the ball, there's going to be more points scored. When you're running the ball, the clock is going to be a lot. It's going to be burned out a lot quicker. So running the ball. I mean, look at Alabama, who's a running team. Look at Michigan, who's a running team. Look at Iowa, who's a running team, right? And I'm talking about Alabama before. So if you look at these teams, they're all run heavy offense.
Well, I'm talking
They
about
don't
being a
score a lot of points.
scoring defense. I'm talking about them being able to
Scoring
score on
defense means
defense.
points against.
Uh,
Points
I don't
against.
know.
So
I just,
so
I just think I don't know.
statistically, Oregon allows less points than Texas does,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, but
So
that's hard to say when these games of. I mean, yeah, they're playing somebody like Tulsa, 10 points, Boise 19, Michigan State trash, but then Cal 32, Arizona 24, 33, 33, 42, 28. Like the teams that I will say the gap of if you take the group of the Pac-12, their top teams versus the Big Ten's top teams, and we mash them up together, I think their top teams in the Big 12 are better, and the bottom teams are a lot better than the bottom teams in the Pac-12. Tulsa is not great. I think the bottom team in the Big 12 would beat Tulsa. Will probably beat Michigan State, who's trash. Will probably beat Arizona State because they're iffy. When they are good, they're okay. So the bottom teams on the opposite side aren't as good as the bottom teams on the other side. So that's why you're saying that's why it's a little bit easier to say they're not going to score as much. But I don't know. I think it
I'm
boils
not
down
saying they're
to
not. I'm not saying that they're not going to score as much. I'm saying
yeah,
that Oregon and Texas are kind of identical, and for
yeah.
Washington to beat that team 2 times
It's still that's
is
tough.
saying something.
Yeah, yeah,
That, and I mean, they're 50 offense. Washington is not great, but not horrible. I mean, Oklahoma went to it with a 80 plus offense twice.
yeah,
So they're 50 in off defense. I mean, for point scoring defense. 10th on they're first in passing offense. They're 10th in scoring offense. So the thing is that team beat an identical Texas twice,
yeah,
but that's a factor, but it's not an all in. This is how it's going to be because you have 2 weeks to prepare for this game, right?
essentially, yeah.
So,
So you know
so
what you're coming to it looking for.
yeah, you know what you're doing, right? So you have a
Mhm.
long time to prepare for these games. I mean, granted, you take in recruiting because everybody's on recruiting now. Nobody's doing like bowl preparations besides
Yeah,
the team that's just played. Uh, but going into the January 1st to the New
mhm.
Year's game, I mean, you do have a lot of time to prepare for it. So, like, that is something to take in factor of, but it's not a okay, this is what it's going to be because this is how it's been, right? You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Teams prepare differently. Teams have better coaches and different aspects that's game changers, right?
yeah.
So I'm just saying that Washington playing Texas, I don't know. I'm just gonna throw a wild card out here and say that I got Washington winning this game. And I think I said that before. And I really hope I do have Washington win this game because I don't want Texas to do nothing. But that's my
Horns
bias.
down,
Horns
horns
down.
down.
But
Yeah,
I think I got Washington and Bama in the final. And like you said, do you rather see Bama play Washington? I'm like, if Washington beats Texas,
then they have
yes.
a chance. There's a chance. Yeah,
Yes. I mean, I think, and I said at the beginning of the year, Texas is probably going to go to the playoffs. I
mhm.
said that like week 2 after they beat Bama. I said that before
But
they
we've been
played
saying
Bama,
it since the
before they played
beginning. They're
Rice.
arguably, yeah, we've been saying it since the beginning. They're arguably the best team in the nation. We don't let the one game
Yeah.
they dropped as Oklahoma determine that. We still think this is the best team in the nation. That was a rivalry game, like I said with the Auburn game. rivalry games, it's hard to determine who's just like, oh, you were so much better. It came down to literally the last play in a rivalry game that they lost. So
Almost the last play, but
yeah, almost the last 13
I
seconds.
mean, technically, Oklahoma was leading the whole game, except for like 2 minutes of the game they didn't lead,
Yeah,
which is kind of
but
crazy.
let's see. Let's see if I can pull it up here. I'm trying to look at what their yards against average for rushing. Got rushing attempts, yards per rushing
Who's
touchdown.
that
I want to see Washington how much they actually allow per game average.
for? Well, Texas is out of it with their running back who is good, honestly
Um,
good. Like I say, top 3 in the nation, but he's out for the season, ACL a few weeks
oof.
ago.
Yep.
Yeah. So that is a big factor. They do still got some
That's
good.
huge.
Yeah, they still got some good running backs back there who played very well against Oklahoma State, who everybody knew it was going to lose. I don't know why Oklahoma State went in the first place. To be
Is it
real with you,
Brooks? Yeah, Brooks that went down ACL.
yep, he is out.
Yeah, that's 1,000-yard rush you just lost right there. That's tough.
Yeah,
But Baxter's
he didn't
coming
even play
behind
the
him.
last 2 games. So
Has Arch made his decision to leave? Have we heard anything about that? I think he's going. Of course, he wouldn't leave now. Does the playoffs? But have we? Is there any more rumors floating around where he might go after this?
Mississippi State, just because if you think about it, Jeff Lebby just took that job.
Yeah.
They have no quarterback. They're trying to get Michael Hawkins, a commit from Oklahoma to go, but
Yeah.
Mississippi ties, so it
Yeah.
would make sense.
Ole
But
Miss is Jackson Dart swinging the block again?
don't know.
Obviously, because that could be a landing spot too. Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin is a
Computer
great
is
recruiter.
fast right now.
Yeah, Ole Miss is Lane Kiffin is a great recruiter. So I think that'd be somebody to watch for too. But maybe his team is. I mean, maybe his parents are kind of pushing him to be loyal. Like, hey, you took the time to commit to these guys. You told them that you would commit. Just because one season, yeah, you're getting pushed back again. That happens, right? But for him just to jump ship, I don't know. Maybe his family like, hey, man, all you gotta do is best for you, but you committed to this team, and it's still a great opportunity to be here.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but if you as good as you say you are, you don't want to sit back and wait,
Sit on the
right?
bench.
Um, so I get if you want to leave. I mean, honestly, if I was him, I would leave just because if he goes to Mississippi State, I mean, him and Jeff Lebby were just seen together a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
So I would leave if somebody's offering me a position somewhere else,
yeah.
just because I mean, why not? You know what I'm saying? Like he's
If
coming
you're offering
back.
me play time, I might as well go.
Yeah, yeah, you got your starting quarterback coming back. It's not a bad quarterback. Like he's gonna have the job. He's gonna get the job, right? So I mean, especially depending on what happens now, but he already has them to their 100 in rushing defense, Tom,
Yeah.
by the way.
Okay.
Um, but depending on not even depending on nothing, it's secure. Like he's coming back, he's gonna be the starter. He just got us to the playoffs, right?
Yeah, like
So
he's earned his spot to be here.
yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the Georgia incident with, Stetson taking over and then Jake Fromm, Justin Fields had to leave. He
Yeah.
was better. We don't know that about Arch, but he was better than both of those quarterbacks.
Yep.
But I mean, he had to go, right?
Yeah.
If he didn't go, who would have maybe, things didn't turn out the way they did
Yeah. I mean,
for Justin
sometimes
Fields.
coaches' loyalties kind of screw their programs a little bit. As we saw what Joe
I
Milton
think
and
so.
Heupel, the loyalty to a player kind of screws the program. But then we get angry or we complain about a player not having loyalty to a team and then jumping ship, right? But at some point in time, you gotta look at it, it's a business, right? Uh, that's what it is. This is a money-making business, and you gotta play the player that's going to give you the best opportunity to win. And though, yeah, you can get a dub with this guy, but if you can do it more efficiently and better doing it, which who knows if Arch is going to be that guy, but the guy give him an
I mean,
opportunity.
if
I'm sure they gave him opportunity, but
Yeah, if you're coming to me and you want to play for me, boom, okay, that's cool and all. But if I have a guy that's taking me to the promised land or
Yeah, it's a
close to
business.
it,
It's a
out
business
of the
decision.
4 teams, out of the hundreds of teams that's competing for it, you know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? Like, I get, competing and giving fair shots, but this player just took us to the Final Four.
He got us to where we
Now,
needed to be. Yeah,
and then what are you supposed to say to to Quinn Ewers? Hey, bro, I mean, I gotta let
he's
somebody
Arch
else play.
Manning. He's Arch
I mean, you
Manning.
know
We
what I'm
gotta.
saying?
Yeah,
Like, I gotta let them compete for it. Which I mean, compete for it, cool, but it's not in your favors. I guess
yeah.
that's how I would see it. But it is what it is.
It is what it is. I wonder if I can.
Yeah.
How this background look? Oh man, I look crazy. Kind of floating in here, but no. I'm excited for it. All the games that have come up, but let's get a little prediction. How's your squad looking right now coming up on this playoff game? Who you guys got? Oh, how you
Um,
feeling about that? Also, I know we hadn't really gotten to depth. Now it's bowl time. How do you feel about being snubbed
uh,
for that New Year's Six bowl right there?
uh, really, it's all good. I mean, they wanted to put Liberty in there, for whatever reason, but kind of like,
I mean, they were 13. No, they kind of earned it. They couldn't get a playoff slot like we knew Air Force couldn't. They couldn't get a playoff slot, so
yeah,
it's
that's
like,
what I'm saying. Like, it's
got
tough, but if Liberty and Oklahoma was to play on a neutral site, who's gonna be favored and by
exactly.
how much?
But yeah,
So,
probably by a
uh,
lot. Thank
yeah, so you did it with Florida State,
you. Hmm.
but now you want to be fair. I mean, it's all good. Like, everybody is kind of sees now that,
Yeah,
uh,
I see how you put that in there. That's a, you can't pull the state out, but I feel you. Now
yeah,
they want to change it up. But it's a good game you guys got right there against Arizona, who turned out to be
yeah. I think
a
that'll be
pretty
it.
solid team.
Yeah, yeah. I think that would be a good game. I'll probably get in depth about that in another video on its own little separate thing. But
Yeah.
I think Arizona is a good team. And I think with Dylan Gabriel, if I'm looking at it now, like, bowl games don't matter. They don't mean nothing. Like, it's cool
In the
and all,
grand
but
scheme thing, yeah.
they don't mean nothing. I
Is he
mean,
already gone at that point? DG?
yeah, he's already gone.
Okay.
But like, the last bowl game that mattered for us, like, we've beaten Oregon, we've beaten Florida, we lost to Florida State last year by like 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
But we've beaten all these good teams. But I mean, that's cool and all. We beat y'all, but it don't matter. It don't mean nothing. And
Yeah,
people are
and
saying
I
that
mean,
now.
monetary. I mean, you get money for it. It helps your program out. But in the grand scheme, it's just like, hey, we won. Like Tennessee, we won the Orange Bowl. So what? It's New Year's Six. It wasn't the playoffs.
Yeah. I
So
do
and
want
that's
to
how
say too is, I follow these people on Twitter and they say, "Hey, bro, just off topic.
Mhm.
Hey, bro, this is a lock. This is my best bet. This is a lock. Da da da."
Yeah.
So they say Zach Wilson have him going for 226 yards today over. So
Hmm.
I'm like, I'm gonna play it safe. I'm gonna say he go for 160 yards as an NFL quarterback. 160, buck 50,
Yeah.
not bad, right? This man got it's fourth quarter with 11 minutes left. This man got 26 passing yards.
You been 226, right?
Bro, this man got 26 passing yards on the day. Derrick Henry, they say, hey, Derrick Henry going over 67 yards. So I'm like, I'm gonna go and say he gonna get 59, over 59 yards. This man got 12 yards rushing. Bro, what? They like, and
It's a
every
lot
time
that
they
he
play,
wasn't going to get it.
yeah, they said every time Houston got one of the worst rushing defenses,
Defenses.
da da da. And every year that Henry runs against him, he averages 170 yards.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I have him going for 60.
Yeah.
Not bad. This man got 12 rushing yards. I'm about done with this shit. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm about sick of it.
The
Bro,
disrespect. It's like, hey man,
bro. 12,
how you gonna
uh,
tell me you're selling me without telling me you're selling me?
26 passing yards.
That's wild. That's
Bro,
wild. That must be wet, windy, mud bowl right there. Say, yeah, we can't pass it. Let's just run it.
bro, I don't know what's going on.
That's
I don't
how.
know what's going on. But yeah, I just had to get that off my chest before I exploded and start throwing stuff. It is what it is. Shout out to Jacksonville, my alma mater. Kind of
Yeah, they doing that thing, bro. They're doing the
shout
thing.
out to them
I
real
like Coach
quick.
April. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like Coach April. Did you you get to watch any of that with some of the highlights that were being played? They were real back and forth, man.
I was watching it. I was watching the game actually.
Yeah.
They were. It was back and forth. It was gritty. It was back and forth, but Jabil really was behind that whole game.
Yeah,
It
it was
was.
7-7. Like UNLV would score. I mean, not UNLV, UL would score, then they would score, then they would score. It's back and forth till Jayville went up
I mean, it
in the
was like
third quarter.
you know, UL would score, and then Jabil would 3 and out. Then it'd be another 3 and out. And Jabil would get it close, and then be 3 and out or throw a pig. They get into the red zone, throw a pig, and then they get it and get a stop.
Yeah.
Then Jacksonville finally score, and I'm like, bro, I have money on that game. Honestly, one team that
had
messed me up was Boise State. I went did a 4
You
leg
chose
yesterday
Boise to
for.
win it?
I chose them to cover.
Oh,
Well, this is how I was thinking. Boise plays UCLA.
yeah.
UCLA better team, yeah. Obviously they won. But Boise was a 7-point favorite. So I'm like, I think they cover that. Honestly, they might win it. With Dante Moore leaving, they got
Mhm.
their starting quarterback's gone. I mean, maybe Boise State comes out. Boise State's leading for most of the first half.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, they let up 23 or 21 yards 21 points in the third. I'm like, all right, cool. Y'all don't care about my parlay at all. Obviously, I mean,
I'll tell you who got
I
me
don't
was
know.
and one of my parts. I made a bunch, but the one I was really counting on that was hitting. App State versus Miami of Ohio, 13-9. When I tell you this was the ugliest game I've ever seen people play, it was 3 points. They would win field goals. That's all they was getting, field goal. And then finally, App State went to score a touchdown, and it was an ugly game. They shouldn't have won it. Miami is an 11-win team. You would figure that, hey, they got this in the bag. They could secure this. And
Appalachian
they
State's
came.
some gritty people, though. They're a gritty
Man,
team.
they're one of those teams that'll get you upset if you're not careful. They'll get you, and that's what this was. It was piss poor the whole time watching them even play.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
no, for
it
sure.
frustrates me going back to look at it. Like every time I go back and look at it, like, man, what the heck were y'all doing out there, man? The starting quarterback was 1 for 2 for Miami, and then the backup was 5 for 8. Like, dog, this is 44 passing yards. I know it's a mud ball. It
Did he
was
get hurt?
I can't remember what happened to him. It was at the very beginning, but I'll tell you what it was. It was a mud bowl out there, bro. It was
Yeah, I'm
soaking,
looking at it right now. Yeah.
soaking wet. Man,
I
I
mean, the
think
other
that,
quarterback had 32 attempts, 18
yeah,
completions, 211 yards.
211, but he had one INT, no passing touchdowns to score in this game. They
He
had
wasn't
one
worried
rushing
about that.
touchdown. Nah, he said we just gonna run this thing. I'm gonna sling it
But
around.
that one receiver had over 100 yards on the
Mhm.
day. So, I
But
mean,
couldn't score nothing. Yeah, Castle. Yeah, no, but it's
um,
an ugly game. I don't know why. I want to pick App State because App State's done it before. Like when I pick them and when I pick against them, they win it. And I said, I do. But then I went and tried to look at ESPN. They were like, "Oh no, Miami." They were actually. I think App State was the favorite in this. I said, "No way, they're an 11-win team. How are they the favorite?" I see, well, because it was piss poor.
right.
But
Vegas knows. Before we leave, I do want to give a shout out. Not even a shout out, but some recognition to Colorado with 3 commits on a day.
yeah,
3 commits. LSU edge rusher Quincy Wiggins. Then they got TCU's receiver is pretty good, Cardell Russell. Then they just got a quarterback from Vanderbilt, Walter Taylor. So
mhm.
3 commits on a day. Colorado's going crazy in the portal. I ain't
Yeah,
gonna, I know you're not big on Colorado, but I think that they'll be a bowl eligible next year. I
He's
believe.
building a foundation for those guys. I know he wanted to bring a lot of transfers, and I think what the issue with this year, and what a lot of players said was he was playing favorites with the people that he brought. He wanted to try to prove a point he could win with these guys. So a lot of people say it was a lot of favorites, and people kind of feeling some type of way about that. And you see what it led him. A lot of close games, what coulda, shoulda, woulda. And I think the biggest guy for them that's going to be a huge difference maker in protecting Shador, where he's not having to run all the time, is that Jordan Seaton. And I know I'm still frustrated by his antics. With that, you posting, you come to Tennessee, Tennessee's a lock. Yeah, we're going to Tennessee, and yeah, let's go get these dubs. And then you turn around and commit to Colorado, which I can't knock it. You got to go to where you're going to play. That's a great opportunity. But they're moving up to the next level now with Michigan, with the not Michigan, with the Big Ten. So we'll see how it works out for them. I wish them the best.
Yeah,
That's all I can say.
for sure.
But we needed them. Nico's gonna need that protection, especially with us losing some seniors. We needed them. But it is what it is, and it was what it was. I ain't mad at him. You go get your money, big dog.
Yeah.
Go get your money. But no, that's really all I got. Guess we get back in and get a few more of these predictions later on in the week. And really see what's up with these bowl games and these transfers. But one thing I did want to hit on while I'm here, while it was on my mind, was some of the folks we have in the portal. So we can pull it back up because I get the clicking. We had a lot of folks go. One of them will come through the list right here. We got Warren Burrell. He went down to Georgia Tech, which I appreciate. You not going to a near peer, not going to a Georgia or an Alabama. He's a redshirt senior at DB. Warren Burrell. He didn't get a lot of playing time throughout his time. Well, he did get some towards the end right there, but you got to go where you're getting a little bit more, and the ACC is a little bit easier for you. Mo Clipper Jr. transferred to Charlotte. He's also a redshirt freshman, new guy. Maya Bigelow, never heard of this guy. He's a freshman linebacker. Jack Luttrell, another DB, freshman. Turnage, he's a redshirt senior DB. He's in the portal. He hasn't definitively committed to anywhere just yet, which is cool. I'll give him that. We got Connor Meadows, offensive lineman, redshirt freshman. Addison Nichols, redshirt freshman, O-line. Tyler Barron. It hurts seeing him go. Transfer to Ole Miss. Tyler Barron, senior, 6'5", 260. D lineman. Dude was a dog. I hate seeing him go. Danico Slaughter, Arkansas DB, senior. Deshaun Rucker, junior DB. Tamarian McDonald, transfers to Ole Miss, DB, senior.
Down boy.
Yeah, coming in though. Holden Stays, transfer from Notre Dame, tight end, sophomore. This guy's a big body player, and I enjoyed watching him a little bit with Notre Dame in his time. I enjoyed seeing him and see what he's going to do here, being a good target for Nico. Jacoby Thomas coming in from MTSU, coming up to the big league for Tennessee. Richard, sophomore DB. He's a hard hitter. I watched him against Colorado. He ain't scared to put his head down and go get some. Colorado State, because my wife's that's our alma mater, so I watched him a few times. Those are two big transfers coming in, and my favorite, like I said, is seeing that Holden Stays coming in this next year, being a good target. Hopefully, Brew McCoy gets healthy, comes back to Tennessee one more time, run it back, and we give some targets to Nico, and I think we can make something shake. It's gonna be tough this year because the SEC is a gauntlet, bro. It is going to be real king rat coming out of the SEC this following year, bro. Yeah. It really is. They're trying to go for dog eat dog mentality. I don't know what they were thinking about this, adding Texas and Oklahoma to already tough division without getting rid of some people. But it is what it is. If you had to get rid of, and on the last note, headed out here, if you had to get rid of two teams in SEC to put somewhere else, who'd you choose to leave?
Texas and Oklahoma.
To go back to where they came from. You send them back where they came from?
Probably Oklahoma and either Texas and Oklahoma or Missouri and Oklahoma.
I was thinking Missouri too. Have Missouri and maybe Missouri and Arkansas. They're both in that same line right there. push them towards the Big 12, and bring Texas and Oklahoma in. So push Arkansas, Missouri out, let them go Big 12, bring Texas and Oklahoma in. So
Yeah.
or push South
Oklahoma
Carolina
has the
to the ACC.
toughest schedule.
Yeah,
I
I'd
think.
push South Carolina to the ACC.
They say Florida has a tough schedule next year, but I think Oklahoma has the toughest schedule. Honestly, I don't
Florida
think.
does have a pretty
I don't
tough. We
think
was looking the other day.
I don't think there's no tougher schedule than Oklahoma's. Not gonna lie.
Why you say that? What's Oklahoma looking like? What's Oklahoma looking like for next year? So I'm gonna say Florida they have them at number 1. They start off. Where's it at? I just added it up like 2 seconds ago. Florida. Okay, here it is. So they started off, I think, slugging with Miami. First game. Florida at Miami. That's a tough one. Samford, ain't nothing. A&M, Mississippi State, Central Florida, Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia.
The back half though of Florida is
LSU.
brutal.
Yeah, look
Last
at that.
5
So
games.
when they get to the gauntlet, it goes Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, Texas, LSU, Mississippi,
It don't stop.
Ole Miss, Florida State. Like they
It
go
don't
through a
stop.
gauntlet.
I'm not gonna lie.
That last half of theirs. That's tough.
I mean, it's bad. It might be. I think that Oklahoma might be behind them. But Oklahoma, if you look at it, so this is Oklahoma schedule, right?
Mhm.
We got Temple. Cupcake, cool. Take it. We'll take it. I'll take all of it, Temple. Pause. Cougar, Houston, right?
Yeah.
Just a 10-win team 2 years ago. Didn't have a great season this year, but they flashes, right? Tank Dell came from there. Not bad. You know what I'm saying? Then we got Tulane. Not bad school at all. You know what I'm saying? Like out of New Orleans. Played them 3 years ago. Nail biter with them. And Oklahoma.
And they should be an SEC team. We wanted to bring them back into the fold, and they didn't want to come back. I was like, what? Why?
Yeah.
They didn't want to come back.
Yeah. So Tulane. So Tulane, right? Then we have Tennessee. Another. So 3 weeks. I mean, I get you can say what you want about Houston. You know what I'm saying? Houston's not a bad football team. They almost beat Texas this year. Then Tulane, Tennessee, Auburn off. Then we have Texas. Then we have South Carolina. South Carolina, okay. Then we have Ole Miss. Then we have Maine. Take that all day. Then we have Missouri. Then we have Alabama and LSU. Like Alabama, LSU, Ole Miss, Texas, Tennessee, Tulane. Like these Missouri. You know what I'm saying? Like that's tough, bro. That's tough.
Ours ain't horrible. I'd take our schedule over most. We start off with Chattanooga, so UTC. Then we got NC State, Kent State, and then Oklahoma 4th game. It gets a little tough.
Exactly.
But,
NC State is not horrible either. I give you that one. That was like, kind of like the Houston game.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Tulane game, actually.
I'm more like Tulane. But then it goes Oklahoma, Arkansas, Florida, Bama, Kentucky, Mississippi State, Georgia, UTEP, Vandy. So we still got a lot of gimme games in there. We still got
y'all have a lot. We have a
lot
of gimmies.
We got a lot. We got UTC, NC State, Kent State, Kentucky. I say it's a gimme because we always beat them. UTEP, Vandy. Then maybe you could throw Mississippi State depending on how they play.
Right.
But I will like Mississippi State if Arch goes there. I feel like that is I think that is the start of a rivalry with Arch and Nico, being button heads in that recruiting class, and people was kind of putting them like potential for Nico to be number 1, the Arch took number 1, and Jackson Arnold and all the people that were in that class people were talking about.
A lot of people too say that, the Texas Oklahoma game, the shootout or Red River rivalry is set up for both teams to be 5-0 going into that game.
Yeah.
but
Not
they
anymore.
said they did that on purpose. No, they said this year, next year it will be. They said this year it's normally like that. They said the SEC kind of made it like that this year or next year as well.
Yeah.
Because the only team we got to go through is Tennessee, but y'all play in Norman, so
Yeah,
that's gonna be
coming
tough.
old Norman. So guess we'll see. But no, man, I'm excited for it. I know Tennessee is always next year. It's always next year and next year. I'm a Tennessee fan, so you're gonna get used to hearing that a lot. Me looking for the next year. But I want to see Nico, especially this bowl game we got coming up. I want to see Nico get some play time, get in there and make something shake and get prepared to see what we have with these guys committing and these guys not committed, declaring for the draft, hitting the transfer portal. We've had 7, 8 people out, only 2 have came in, and we've got some good commits coming. So I'm excited to see what we have, and we see what freshmen can do. Look at Alabama. What's up boy that safety they got who's a freshman? Dude is a dog back there. He is eating. So maybe we'll have some guys that end up like that for us. But that's all I really got for this one. We'll swing the block later on this week, and when we get to nitty gritty, I think we're gonna have us a player on here. Guy went to Kennesaw State. He's hoping to come in here and just get pick his brain a little bit of way his processes went for him, his recruiting, and what's it like potentially looking to try to declare for the draft, to get prepared for this, how NIL factors, stuff like that. So just to get his opinion in here and maybe pick his brain. So that's all I got, man. We're bros with mics. We're on the new platform, so usually we have all the banners stuff, but we ain't got it. You live what you get. Look at Cody above Cody's head over there. You see his little see the bros with mics. So
Yes,
that's all
sir.
I got, man. I'm out this thing. I'm Tom.
Cody.
Peace out.